What is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on, alright? Alright, y'all. Now, today we are here to tackle two topics, right? And in this video, I want to show y'all something I thought was very interesting, right? And y'all know I don't believe in coincidences. And this obviously has to do with the fresh news of Theo from the Cosby Show, y'all. Y'all already know what's going on, man. Alleged accidental drowning in Costa Rica yesterday. We get the news today. Supposedly he was found yesterday on Sunday dead from an accidental drowning, right? So before we get to that story, we got to talk about Obama. Now, y'all might have been seeing this stuff going around the internet. 5 days ago, he got on the podcast with his wife. It's just simply called Michelle Obama. And the video sits at like 1.1 million views right now, right? Bunch of people been talking about it because it seems like Obama is still pushing a certain agenda that he started during his presidency, right? And it's like, man, come on, Obama. You just kind of digging yourself in a hole already, because culturally, people already think you didn't do much for them anyway, right? One of the biggest, most controversial things that he passed was, of course, well, it might have been right when he was leaving office or something like that. I can't remember. I could pull up the exact article, but y'all already know what I'm talking about as far as the gender neutral bathrooms, and whatever you claim or identify as, you can just waltz. I don't think it's a law anymore, but at that time, you could just waltz yourself, your little own self, right into any bathroom. If I identify as a woman, I can just waltz myself in the bathroom. Boom. We good. Target, schools, all kind of stuff. I'm going to show y'all another clip where Dr. Umar was super on point talking about Obama. And their administration basically forced schools to allow this to happen, sent out notices to schools across America, right? And so Obama goes on the podcast and has the nerve to openly still push this agenda. I think it's just as demonic as him in this sacrifice devil horn suit. Y'all can tell me this ain't Obama. If this is not Obama, I don't know who this is right here. This has been a long debate of if this is Obama. I'm pretty sure this is him. But he's still pushing this very demonic agenda. And I watched the entire hour-long podcast. I did it for y'all. I just wanted to listen to see how it led up to him saying that. And I'll have to say, to me, it came out of left field. It seemed like he had that on his mind to eventually get it out in that podcast. It didn't seem like it naturally flowed to him talking about how young boys should be raised, which we're going to get into the clip here in a second. I'm going to let y'all listen. But to me, this is why I listened to the entire podcast, because I wanted to see where it came from. For me, he had it planned. That was something he wanted to bring up. He wanted to say that. And I don't know if he wanted to do it for shock value, or better yet, maybe he just really believes that young boys should grow up with, a mentor who's basically zesty, right? You should have a zesty mentor in your life. It's a must. We all need it. We don't need strong dads. We don't need moms and grandmas to teach us stuff that the dad can't teach us. We just need a zesty mentor, right? Now, right before I show y'all this, women out there, if your man sit like this and you sitting like Michelle Obama, you already know what's going on. Just when I saw this, I was like, yo, if your man sit down and cross his legs like this, and you got your legs open just chilling, nah, conversation over with. He ain't even the one for you. But anyways, y'all, look, we're going to go ahead and jump into the clip. We'll come back, talk about it a little more. I may play both of them back to back, the Obama clip, and then go into what Dr. Umar talked about. Then we're going to come back and we're going to tie something together with the recent news about Theo from the Cosby Show. All right. Check this out.
And there were a bunch of different kinds of men. Mm-hmm. You know, there were men that were kind of soft-spoken, and then there were men that were loud, and there were men who were engineers, and then there were men who were police officers, or they drove, a jitney cab. Yeah. Right? And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Mm-hmm. One dad.
No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. Mm-hmm. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Right? So that, I think, is creating that community. I know it's corny, but that's what they need.
One of the reasons Barack Obama was made president is so he could normalize the LGBTQ agenda in the Black community. Think about it. If George Bush tried to push homosexuality in the Black community, we would have rejected him.
Of course.
If Donald Trump tried to push homosexuality in the Black community, we would have rejected him.
Of course.
You could only normalize that through a blackface.
Through a black man.
Obama was made president to make it normal. When Barack Obama became president, homosexuality was not a mainstream issue, nor was it accepted as a mainstream alternative to the traditional family.
I gotta look at
By the time he left office in 2008, they were completely running everything.
That was
and
that
if
the
you
year?
even disagreed with, I'm gonna give you an example.
It is.
I do a lot of graduation speeches, right? At the June.
Okay.
Elementary school, middle school, high school. I normally do about 20 graduation speeches a season.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
When Barack Obama was president, I might have did 5. It dropped significantly. Schools who I normally did their commencement, they was calling me up, Dr. Umar, we can't have you speak this year. Why? The LGBTQ say you don't agree with them, you can't speak. I said, but this is a graduation speech. This ain't politics. This is motivation. Get ready for the rest of your life.
Right.
What does LGBT got to do with my 10-minute speech motivating these 12th graders to make sure you do well in college?
Right.
Well, we have LGBT teachers and they saying you're insensitive and you're homophobic. So I saw how not agreeing with the lifestyle could limit your opportunities in life. You had people getting fired from jobs, not for pushing hate, because I don't agree with hate.
Right.
I don't agree with the lifestyle.
Right.
But I don't want harm for any human, no matter what their situation is.
That's the way to do it.
But the way that they did it was the LGBTQ said, to disagree with me is to hate me. They created a narrative that if you disagree, you support violence against me.
Right.
You don't want us to work. You want us to be shot, killed, man.
Yeah.
We never said that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We just said we don't agree with the lifestyle.
Right.
But they turned it into a whole campaign against anybody who disagreed with it. And that's another reason why a lot of people didn't vote for Kamala Harris, black men, because they got tired of the effeminization. And then they took it to Africa. Obama started it. He went to Africa. He went to Liberia. He went to Rwanda, a couple other places. He said, if you don't legalize gay marriage, we cutting off your aid.
Now, it's kind of like one of those things where what's already known doesn't need to be said, right? And the agenda they were pushing, it had a ripple effect in a lot of different areas of life. You know, we start seeing shows, movies where scenes like that don't even belong. That it started an entire ripple effect. I can remember seeing certain shows and it just comes out of nowhere. 2 men kissing in a plot where it doesn't even need it. They were just pushing that agenda on you in places It was not called for, especially the whole gender neutral bathroom thing. That is the ultimate invasion of privacy. And I don't think Obama was just being used to push it on black people. It's just in general, period. But yes, to a degree, he's right. You know, they would use a supposed black man, you know, to push that agenda on Americans. You know, it's almost like a slap in the face. It's like, yeah, we're giving you the first black president, but we're also finna give you the first zesty president who may be dating a man. According to Joanne Rivers, y'all know that. We show that just about every time we talk about Obama. Can't forget that. So yeah, we're going to give you the first black president. We're also going to give you the first president to just openly push these kind of agendas on you right in your face. And all the way up to 2025, Obama still doesn't care. Just says, oh, you need a gay mentor to show you empathy outside of your father and your mom. He said he comes from a background where he was raised by his mom and his grandparents. Only met his dad once. Sounds just like me. Yeah. I only knew my dad up until 4 years old. But I didn't need to have a zesty mentor or zesty friends around me in order to show empathy. I'm cool. My mom, my sister, life taught me that. If I was meant to be that type of person and have respect and kindness, I'm going to learn that kind of stuff. My heart is a good one. I got a good heart. I'm going to learn that. I didn't need that pushed on me as a kid. And that's what makes it demonic and evil, because you're trying to push this on kids. Kids don't need that. It comes down to, not giving them a choice. It takes it back to the whole thing when Boosie was going off on Dwayne Wade. He's like, nah, dog, don't cut his dick off, dog. Dwayne Wade, don't cut his dick off, dog. Like, it goes back to that. Excuse my language, but you're not giving them a choice. You're pushing it into their face before they can decide what they are and who they are. Makes me think about the whole Megan Fox thing. There are multiple examples of this where they push this on kids before they have a chance to make a decision who they are. You can't make the decision for them, and society doesn't make it much better with allowing this to be right in their faces. You know what I'm saying? Remember the whole Megan Fox thing? Telling, reading books to her kids about it? Insane. All the little boys is little girls. It's insane. Dr. Umar was on point on that once again, just like most stuff, there can be a lot of stuff you want to agree with him. But that's why when I do put him on my channel, it's things that, I feel like we can all agree with, right? And it's a very important topic because it still hasn't really changed and it's only going to continue. But like you said, this ain't to, we're not trying to cause harm to people who may live that lifestyle or who grew up that way and who chose that from however young they were. I don't have to agree with your lifestyle, You don't have to agree with mine as a straight man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's no harm, there's no harm, no foul, no nothing. It is what it is, You live your life the way you want to live your life. I'm not going to step on your toe regardless. But when it comes to pushing it on kids, that's when we take this a whole different direction. So what I finally want to get into in this video, y'all, we're going to kind of flip the switch. We're going to talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner, right? He accidentally drowned on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, I'm tying back something that happened with the Obamas with this as well. And quite surprising when I found it, right? So they say this is a photo of Malcolm Jamal. This is a photo of Malcolm Jamal Warner right here, right? 54 years old. This is quite possibly the final pick. And this was on July 13th. They said he was looking relaxed and low key. He had just arrived on a flight from Atlanta to Costa Rica, right? So Malcolm Jamal's body was found Sunday after he got caught in an ocean current. Accidental drowning, right? on a Sunday, which we know to be sacrifice Sunday. Break the word up. Sunday. Sun worship, right?
Right here. How long have I been here? How long have I been doing great?
Hey, that's Malcom Jamal Warner.
So good to see you.
That's Malcom Jamal Warner.
How you doing? So what do you think about the show?
That's Malcom Jamal Warner. Look at Malcolm. That's boy. Look at him.
Think about it.
I think it's cool. But go see Independence Day.
Look at him.
Quite surprising that this happened. When I saw this come across the screen earlier, I was just like, an accidental drowning. Caught in an ocean current. Okay, cool. We all know that he played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Say he survived by his wife and his daughter, right? There's not much else right now on the death of Theo, Malcolm, Jamal, right? Not much else that we can say. Check this out. So with all this stuff going on about Obama, just happened to remember that Obama had a chef, family chef. He's been their chef since Obama was in office. Very long time ago, right? Now, this was an AP News article that was debunking a claim about a conspiracy 2 years ago, shortly after he died, right? Now, also, Obama's chef accidentally drowned, y'all. He drowned 2 years ago, almost to the date, on a Sunday, in no more than 7 feet of water. Almost to the date. The only thing is, I think that Sunday 2 years ago was on the 23rd. And today's, 2025 Sunday in July was the 20th, yesterday, right? So this was a conspiracy. The Obama's family's personal chef had been writing a tell-all book when he was found dead with injuries to his head in less than 4 feet of water. The conspiracy was also that the 911 call also didn't go out until his body washed up on shore, and Obama's personal coroner conducted the autopsy. So AP came out with their own assessment and called this claim false. They said Tafari Campbell, who was the Obama chef, did not sustain any head wounds and was found in nearly 8 feet of water, not in less than 4 feet of water. They also say that when he drowned, or as soon as he went underwater, a 911 call came in shortly after he fell off his paddleboard. But I could not find a time that he went under to the time that 911 was called, right? So he was on a paddleboard, y'all. And they also say Obama's physician didn't do the autopsy. It was performed by the state. It was performed by the state's medical examiner. And they also say there's been no evidence of a tell-all book about the Obamas, which I'm sure he knows a lot about them since he was their chef practically 15 years plus, right? So this happened on the waterfront of Martha's Vineyard, which was basically, he was found right in front of their property, right? Campbell went out on Edgartown Great Pond with another paddleboarder around 7 p.m. Sunday. The 911 call was made at 7:46 p.m. All right, so there is the time. Shortly after he went underwater, his body was found about 100 feet from shore in the area of Turkey Land Cove Road, which is where the Obama summer home is located. And while the pond has an average depth of 3 to 4 feet, it was recovered in waters roughly 7 to 8 feet deep. As if that changes anything, because we know you're not drowning in 3 to 4 feet unless you were put underwater, held underwater, knocked out, whatever. Even in 7 to 8 feet, if you're 6 foot man, that is really not deep at all. They're not saying over 8 feet. They're saying 7 to 8 feet. This man fell off a paddleboard and he drowned, y'all, in 7 feet water. The pond has an average depth of 3 to 4 feet. Anyone could stand up in it. But somehow he was recovered in a section that's 7 to 8 feet deep. Oh, wow, how convenient. Right in front of the Obama's summer home. They were on paddle boards for a short while before he fell in. Say, after he fell in, the other paddleboarder swam a short distance to where he had gone in and tried to locate him. And it was unsuccessful. So they say he was 100 feet from shore and supposedly was found in 7 to 8 feet deep water. It does not make sense, y'all. Now, mind you, he died 2 years, y'all, to the day. 2 years to the day from yesterday. We're basically talking about the same Sunday, just different dates. I find that to be very red flaggish. It's not making sense. This one is not adding up. This one doesn't add up at all. And maybe until we get more details about Theo Huxtable, we could dig into that one a little bit more as well. But since we were talking about Obama, and I realized that these two dates, they were the same, 2 years apart, basically. Something is very fishy with this story, y'all. Something is very fishy with this story. And it definitely ain't adding up, man. So with that being said, y'all give me y'all thoughts on this one. I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. If anything else comes out that we should talk about, y'all already know I'm going to get on it, man. So with that being said, it's Black Balloon. And I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I'm out.